Happy Mother's Day, beloveds. It is I woke up at 3 p.m. today. Um, just tired from the classes that I had had all week, and not just tired, but filled with so much download, so much wisdom, so much has been washed away, so much has been replenished, so much is opening up. New chapters are beginning. There's a new, how can I say, a new ocean, a new feel to everything. And I'm going to say something, and as you listen to the entire video, you'll understand what I'm saying. I feel as though I've been in a fishbowl for millennia, and all of a sudden, existence itself was like, oh, it's time to clean that fishbowl out and refill it and put in new water and new things, and yeah, she needs that. And boom, here I am, the age of Aquarius, new fishbowl, new conscious awareness, everything pouring in and everything growing up. And so the as above, so below is just taking so much meaning on. And not only that, but there is a deep wellspring of divine feminine energy just whoosh, whooshing up in me like I've struck oil or something. It's just, it's just been tapped. And let me just get on with it because this is a lot. It's going to take you many places. It is very profound. Um, I am so blessed, so blessed to be chosen as the vehicle that this comes through. And to tap into the originating source of it, to the original spark of it, to that original ocean or abyss of it before it was tampered with. Just that whole conscious awareness, the original. And it is so, like I said, I don't even have adequate words for it. And I consider myself a wordsmith. I consider myself a divine poet, okay? And I don't have the words for it. And like I said, to bring it forth. And then to not even realize it was Mother's Day until my daughter called me and said, Happy Mother's Day. And my grandbaby saying, Happy Mother's Day, belated happy birthday. Like I said, just poof, 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 poof. Explosions of all kinds. Okay, beloved, that's enough. Let me get to it. Okay. Um, Mother's Day, May 8th, 2022. And that is a 5 and 8, a 2 and a 22. So that's 6 and 8, which is 14. 5, that's a 20, which is a 2. Expanding beyond the 5 senses into the 6, which Spirit said to put as 1111. Expanding beyond the 5 senses into the 6, the conscious awareness of the Aquarian age. Aquarium, fishbowl, they say, make it plain. Space takes up space. It knows this, without form, thoughts, or feelings. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. I am that I am. Matter takes up space with form, thoughts, and feelings that are created, manifested, born, seen reflecting back to space as itself. This is clairvoyance. Clairaudience, clairsentience, psychic, extrasensory, paranormal, precognitive, prophetic, prophetical, second-sighted. I have a love affair with words. Go, and this is just something that came up through me. Go to rhymezone, rhymezone.com. Look these words up and see other meanings, other words that they are associated with or can be used in their place. And the words specifically that I'm speaking of is clairaudience, clairsentience, and clairvoyance. And I'm going to get into these words as I go farther, because this clair is pure sight. It's sight within sight. Sight beyond sight is something that Mother Wit has been saying for a while. Sight beyond sight. So, sight beyond sight. And I'm just going to go with this, beloved. And I guess I should say here too, my physical appearance is vibing from some of the information that is going to be shared here. And it's really taking on energy from Alanis Morissette's The Junkie Tour, especially You Oughta Know. I don't know if that song is on the Junkie Tour or not, but You Oughta Know has been just pouring from my conscious awareness. I mean, it has just been, I can't get it out of my head. The sound of it, the words of it, the wisdom of it, the divine feminine energy of it, the message of it, the badass, kick-ass, let me tell you, you ought to know energy of it. Let me calm down and get back to this, beloveds. It's just so good. It's just so good. It's yummy-licious. Okay. That space plus matter then becomes expanding conscious awareness, replicating itself into galaxies and planets, solar and lunar systems, its own conscious awareness, fully 100% perfected awareness, multiplying itself, equals Elohim, equals oral traditions and wisdom of knowledge and ways, passed down as stories, myths, legends, evidenced in existence of existence, forming itself as conscious awareness over and over again. Spirit rests within all and nothing, seen and unseen, in conscious, subconscious, and unconscious states of being or existing. And I am to really bring your awareness to the word resting or rest. Rest in a state. And I want you to think this is Mother's Day. This is divine mother energy. This is the divine feminine energy. Think of what is said about a mother. Her work is never done. Okay? She is never fully appreciated. As a state of conscious awareness, this is what I'm speaking to you of. In the feminine flow, the oceanic, the rhythmic, the waves, the clairaudience, the clairsentience, the instinct, the intuition, all of this is feminine. All of this comes from the yoni. All of this comes from the reproductive, receptive energies replicating itself and observing itself. Okay? And what is happening in that observation right now? Patriarchy, which means we are being mm, brought back around to the beginning, to look, to see mama, to look and appreciate and value her worth within us, because she is reflected through us. We are her existence. We are her children. We are her essence, living as beings, doing, communicating, enacting, manifesting, mating, moving, and we don't know it. That's mental illness, to not recognize that and value it about yourself, and to have everything create a world that devalues your receptive ability and equate logic, mental acumen, mental intelligence to wisdom. Can't do it. It don't measure up. Never will. That's a false image. That's a lie. That's a false God. So what you get is going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure, because it's not real. Let me keep going. Like I said, guys, I am so on fire with this energy right now. Is I've already said yummylicious, but oh my God, it is. Okay. I'm going to keep calming myself down and trying to present this as calmly as I can. But this is like a prom, a birthday, a graduation, a having your first child, getting your first degree, falling in love for the first time and having that confirmed and reciprocated 100%. That's what this feels like. If I were to just push it and say, this is this and this is this, that's what it would be like. Okay. Keep moving. Lilith knew what space she occupied was not demon or mother of demons. And again, I want you to understand where this information is coming from. The essence of it is from the truth, which means to get away from the distortion of the lie of those that have instituted a narrative in order to gain control and wield power. Okay? How much information can you find on Lilith? How much can you find on Satan the devil? How much can you find on God? How much can you find on Adam and Eve? Why can't you find all this information on Lilith? It's only one little thing, and it's this. And in that story, in that narrative, she is always this. Pretty much like black people and indigenous ones is always savages when we started the civilizations. You know, you see the narrative and how it goes? Yeah, pay attention. Lilith knew what space she occupied. She was not demon or mother of demons. That is why there is not much information on her. It was destroyed on purpose because it opposed the Adam and Eve narrative of original man and woman who were created equal, but Adam felt, thought, / desired a hierarchy because he was not consciously what? Adam was not consciously doing what? He was not consciously resting within his conscious state of awareness of himself as a divine being. He thought less of himself because he had materialized and he had form and he had mass and he had senses. And his were not the same as hers, Lilith, although she was supposed to be equal to him. And he wanted her to lay down underneath him. He wanted her to be less than, because her instincts and her intuition, and he had to deal with his logical mind. And he didn't identify with the divine feminine of her. He only identified with his masculine essence. And he thought that was best, that logic and everything was best. So, spiritually, he was fragmented. He was not inhabiting all of his conscious awareness. And so, the scriptures say he was put to sleep. And during his sleep, he dreamed that a helpmeet, a woman, was given to him. And this woman and he gave birth. But they were kicked out of the garden because of the knowledge of good and bad that was introduced to them by a snake, which had tricked Eve, because her being a byproduct of Adam, she wasn't resting in her conscious awareness either. She wasn't happy. She wasn't satisfied either. She felt less than God. And she wanted to be God. She felt something was missing. The snake understood all of this because it resonated with it. It gave birth to this. It recognized this. It seduced that, teased that, fed that in Eve and said, eat it. You won't die. You surely won't die. I promise you. You'll be just like God, knowing good and evil. Understand the narrative. Understand the narrative. These are the multiverses that existed within the manifestation of the earth planes of consciousness, subconsciousness, and unconsciousness. Keep up, beloveds. I know it's a lot of information, and I know it's all flooding into one space, but get it how you need it. It's all here. You can slow it down. You can rewind it. You can read it on my Facebook page because I'm going to publish it there. Death being another state of consciousness that the physical eye could not see what happens to the spirit beyond the decay of the flesh and the departing of the animating spirit, that which could communicate its essence to other essences in service of divine order. So, what does that mean? That means that Adam and Eve were consciously aware of what death was. They had witnessed that which was animated within flesh become unanimated and decay and go back to the earth. They knew that's what death was. Okay? Death was another state of consciousness that the physical eye could not see what happened to the spirit beyond the decay of the flesh and the departing of the animating spirit. And what was that animating spirit? That Holy Spirit that was conscious, expanding conscious awareness. When your conscious awareness is no longer able to expand, you die. That's what death is. That which could communicate its essence to other essences in service of divine order. That which can communicate its essence to others' essences in service of divine order. So that's your individual and your collective consciousness communicating with each other, reflecting each other, revolving around each other, forming community and communication. And when those essences have served their purpose, they die. What is death? Death is a lesser state. No, 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 no. Death is a different state of conscious awareness. Thus, wait a minute, as above, so below. You have a restless spirit observing, thinking, and feeling. Existence has not fully served it, that something is missing, that its desires and designs are more logical and intelligent, special, beautiful, and wise. You have a restless spirit. Notice these words. Notice yourself, your physical self, your emotional self, your mental self. When you are restless, when you can't rest in the knowledge of who you are and let everything else just be, when you are so worried and anxious about this and that and that and this, that is a restless spirit. Your mind is unable to be still. Your mind is so loud and so chaotic, it has override the stillness that is your true self. And your true self is observing all of this. Your mind acting up again. It's Valerie is being Valerie again. Are you going to let that get out of hand? Or are you just going to witness it and say, okay, Valerie is being Valerie again, yep. And not let that tip your apple cart over. Not let that mess up your applesauce, You're going to make lemonade out of it. I'm going to drink this lemonade. Put some more sugar in here, yep. A little honey, a little agave, yeah. And a hint of cinnamon or nutmeg. Oh, baby. You ain't did nothing. I'm the cook in this kitchen. You have to understand the restlessness. And again, all of this comes to the mama energy, the divine mama energy, that divine feminine essence. And that divine feminine essence, baby, that's not no restless energy pacing back and forth. That's divine patience. That's divine wisdom. Baby, I got all the time in the world, okay? Ain't nothing I ain't seen, ain't nothing new up under the sun. What you got? Come on. That's divine energy. That's divine feminine energy. Instinctively, I don't need to look at you because I already know what you're going to do. Eyes behind the back of your head. I'm going to tell you one time only. The rest is on you. Universal laws. What you sow is what you're going to reap. Ain't no getting away from it. You can call it karma. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You can give it all the philosophy that you want to. You can put it in any culture and hide it in this culture and put it back in that ancient civilization. It's still the same communication because it's universally divine. Period. There's no burying it. There's no getting rid of it. Why? Because it's beyond space and time, baby. Space and time, that's that patriarchal, logical toxic masculine mathematics that does not take in the multiplication and the receptivity of the divine feminine essence. Let me bring it down and stay focused. Okay. Sorry. Not sorry, but okay. Thus you have Adam and Eve being kicked out of the Garden of Eden into a very basic reality where they had to create from scratch everything from their own hands in order to know, reflect, observe, and identify themselves. So Mama said, I gave you all of this, but you couldn't identify yourself this way. You weren't appreciative. You weren't receptive to all of this way, and this I done created this garden, and I done rested. On the seventh day I'm resting. I done did all of this. Here you go, babies. Gone. Play. It's yours. Except for this tree right here. Don't mess with that one, okay? But the rest of them is yours. I'm resting now. I'm tired. I'm in a state of rest. I'm just gonna observe everything now. Okay? Okay, mama. And what you do? The little snake get to Eve, and Lilith run out, grow her some wings, and she take off, and Adam, get in his state, and he fall, and he recreates himself and Eve, through hermaphrodite means, and and puts all of this in the stream of conscious awareness and everything. That's where this come from. It's natural. Babies can be born hermaphrodites, beloveds. That's male and female at the same time. It's androgynous. Understand where it came from. It is when God said made in our design, masculine and feminine. Boom. Period. Mm, mm, mm. That sidetrack. Let me ground again. I'm trying to stay with this, beloveds, because it's just so much. It is so much. It is so much. And I'm doing this all on camera and trying not to. And I'm shedding layers. And then there's other. Okay. Not about me. All the trees of the garden you may eat. I am in a resting state now. I'm just watching and observing everything you do. But I ain't going nowhere. I'm still with you. I still come visit you as a voice. And you done ate the fruit now, and you hiding, and you naked, and you feeling all of this stuff. You've been flooded with all this negative, doubt, fear, all this stuff that you did not have before, that you were not. You have a new restlessness. Your restlessness has been amped up beyond your control now. Okay. You want me to make you some clothes, some skin to get in? Okay. I'm going to weave this fabric, this illusion called the body, and we're going to place you inside that. Okay? And you're going to be able to see yourself, and you're going to be able to have all these senses, and you're going to be able to get to know yourself again, but you got to get out of this garden. Okay? You're going to have to, things are going to be hard now. You're going to have to learn yourself from scratch, from ground zero all the way back up to the highest states. You're going to have to do that. That's where we are in this moment. We're realizing the truth of the stories that we have received. We're realizing who we are as identities and essences, as spiritual beings, as spiritual frequencies that have reincarnated here in space and time for a purpose. Thus, you have Adam and Eve being kicked out of the Garden of Eden into a very basic reality where they had to create from scratch everything from their own hands. They had to till the earth. The earth wasn't yielding to them without them working, sweating, bleeding into her. They had to labor. They had to go into labor along with her to produce sustenance, to gain an understanding of their own true nature and their connectedness to everything in order to do what? To identify themselves, because they were restless spirits. They did not know how to settle and rest in the conscious awareness of observing existence as existence in service, devotion, and pure worship. When you have descriptions of the angels before the Most High from Enoch saying, constant worship, that's constantly fanning that frequency, expanding that frequency of rest. Just like when you hot and you got a fan to shift that air and move that air. That spiritually, that's what's circulating. That's holy, 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 holy. Lord, Lord, Lord. My God, my God, my God. Mama, 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 mama. Hallelujah. Recognition, communication, appreciation, and gratitude. Reconnecting to your source. I am not alone. I don't have to be restless. I can plug into the stillness at any time and recharge. Just like that dead phone. Recharge my spirit. Replenish. Refill my aquarium. Put in new water. Regenerate. Let me keep going. Like the Russian dolls stacked inside of each other. If you've been following me for a while, those Russian dolls have been coming up now, I think, for about the past 6 years or more. The past 6 years or more. These Russian stacked dolls have been appearing in my downloads and transmissions. And it is all relative. It is all the same speak, repeating itself over and over and over again. This is all a loop, beloveds. Nothing I'm saying is new. Nothing. Nothing that I am saying originated with me. I am receiving. I am transmitting. I am transforming what I receive. I am transmuting through my resistance, through my logic, through my impulses. And I am relaying it to you. That's what a marathon race is. That's what the relay is. That's what the handoff is. The handoff is, oh, I done did my turn and whoo, I don't like you, so you gonna drop it and no, it's your turn. Each generation, your turn, your watch with consciousness. With the awareness that there is an essence that does not want the divine feminine to flourish, that is afraid of the abundance, that is afraid of the unknown, unlimited, unconditional love of existence. Thus, it has a problem with itself. That's self-hate. We have been mired in self-hate. We have been raised and nursed upon self-hate. And now it's time for us to wean ourselves away from it. That's a false titty. That's Similac. That ain't real milk. That ain't booby milk. That ain't mama's milk. That's going to make you sick. That's going to kill you. You going to die. Drink that, you going to eat that, you going to die. Consume that, yeah, you begin to die. The order of creating, manifesting, materializing, taking up space equals expanding conscious awareness took 6 spiritual days. On the 7th day, God, existence, conscious awareness was done creating. And now it, he, she was ready to rest in the highest state of observance, which is one of the ultimate conscious states of spiritual awareness. It is known to us as the 7th heaven. And here we have been given Enoch and the other prophets to tell us what the beings look like and what they do in praising and raising the frequency of conscious awareness through self-devotion and as worship. Through self-devotion as worship. I am to put specific emphasis on that. In praising, raising the frequency of spiritual conscious awareness through self-devotion. Not narcissistic love, not I'm better than you love, but devotion to the highest frequency within yourself. To recognizing that, realizing that, and saying, I am one with that. And saying, my world reflects that. My love reflects that. The way I live reflects that. The way I speak reflects that. The way I get down reflects that. Meaning, I'm not judged by anyone but unconditional love, because that is the intention and state of my conscious awareness. And nothing takes place in that state of conscious awareness that is not of unconditional love. That is the discipline. That is the devotion. That is the commitment, and that is the worship. In deep contrast to the one that does not rest or relax into a state of just being, stillness, silence, peace, but is at constant war with its own thoughts and feelings, it is homeless, eternally wandering until the time of its return back to its original state before self-hate, defiance, rebellion, and lies. It will be given a dead zone in which to exist, where it can infect nothing ever again with its reasons, questions, lies, illusions, and black mirror reflections of existence. So if you're wondering what is going to happen to the part that casts the deepest, darkest shadow, what's going to happen to it? Universal laws just explain that. That's the process. It is accepted back into a neutral zone, called here a dead zone. Okay? Where it is back to its original state before self-hate, where it can reflect with its own reasons and questions, you know? And I'm going to leave that there, leave that alone. But one of the things that really caught me as I was putting this to paper, downloading this to paper, was that the image of this restlessness, this restless shadow. And it took me back to Peter Pan and a lot more of stories that I've heard as a child. I love stories. As a child, oh my God, I love them. That's why I am so enamored with scriptures and spiritual verse, the Gita, and just all of them, not just one, all of them. And finding the relation and how they communicate within all. But getting back to it, beloveds, just understanding how restless and unfulfilled the shadow part of you is. And I really had to identify with that shadow part of myself and recognize, some call that part of me, that some call that the inner child. Many do not identify the inner child with the shadow part. Big part of the shadow is your inner child, because that's your first conscious awareness that formed your conscious awareness that was able to expand itself, even with logic, okay? It fed itself with logic. It fed itself with inner dialogue. It fed itself from images and sounds and feelings that it received. And it created a shadow. And you cannot exist on this plane without your shadow influencing you. You are not separate from it. You have to acknowledge it. You can be still, but that shadow, because it's not bound to the laws of your physical reality. Okay? That's why there are shadow beings that we call demons and angels and all of these things that live or exist outside of the physical realm that the eyes can see, but that are still within the realm of conscious awareness and can be observed. It takes me back to a couple of videos ago where I was speaking about the Jesus coming upon the beings that inhabited this man, and they were called Legion. And they were so afraid. It's not my time to be put into that dead zone right now. We still got time. What you doing here? Wait a minute. Hold up. I'm going to allow you to go in the pigs. They went into the pigs, drove the pigs crazy with all the thoughts, the images, the blah, 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 blah. The pigs' little minds couldn't handle it. It overran their instincts and intuition of survival. And they killed them on the spot. The point is, those were restless spirits. Those were homeless spirits. Those were wandering spirits. They're on a grid plane now. They're in a specific location that they cannot range and realm out of, but they're in that area. Solomon had the wisdom of this. He explained a lot of it. A lot of the ancients knew this wisdom. Okay, a lot of this wisdom is in the Vatican right now. A lot of this information is held in secret societies right now, disseminated and broken off crumb here and there, hidden in different cultures, wiped out in some languages and words and conscious downloads, recorded in the heavens. In the beginning was the Word. Adam and Eve, in their state of sleep, in their state of consciousness, were restless. Their spirits, their minds were endlessly restless. That is the realm that is merging, or that has merged with many other spaces and times that are existing in this moment for us to observe, for us to gain spiritual clarity, for us to get rid of the anxiety, to put it to what? Put it to rest. Put that baby to bed. It's tired. Let it get itself together. Just like before, I woke up with all of this saying I was so tired, and I didn't wake up until 3 o'clock, and I woke up with all of this and didn't even use the bathroom, didn't eat, didn't do nothing, came right here and understand the energy. And understand that at any given moment, you can choose to rest in that state of stillness and silence and observe and be at peace. Beyond your senses, beyond your 5 senses. This is the 6th sense I'm speaking of. Know thyself. From this conscious state of awareness, and communicate with yourself in this state, and keep reminding yourself, reminding. I mean, you tilling new earth, you planting new seeds, okay? And you're harvesting and eating from new stuff consciously, constantly. You're not stuck in the loop anymore. You're not stuck in the karmic cycle, because you now recognize and realize. Enter the Aquarian age. Conscious awareness is refillable. What is empty space can now be refilled with expanding conscious awareness that can be observed, duplicated, and maintained for the individual and the collective state of existence. affecting in a blink of an eye the conscious reality of past, present, and future, multiverses beyond our current phases of comprehension. Enter the Aquarian age. Conscious awareness is refillable. What is empty space can now be refilled with expanding conscious awareness. What is empty space? Is the loss of knowledge, is the amnesia, is that which has been forgotten, is that which has been left behind, is that which has been stolen, is that which has been removed surgically, however you want to say, grafted out of. It is now able to be recoded, received, reformulated, regenerated through the age of Aquarius, through this age of receptivity, beyond the glorification of the senses, beyond the physical. Money, 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 greed, greed, kill, kill, murder. Beyond that. That's grow up out of that. Rise up out of that. That is your manure. That is your fertilizer for the six senses to be processed and to refill from. We had to get to this point in order to receive that nutrition, all of that nutrition. We had to go through all that bullshit, all that shit, to consume it and transmute it into higher senses and giving birth to those who are capable of higher sensory perception. Woo, mama doing it today, baby. Happy Mother's Day. I'm going to say that one more time. Enter the Aquarian age. Conscious awareness is refillable. What is empty space can now be refilled with expanding conscious awareness that can be observed, duplicated, and maintained for the individual and the collective state of existence, affecting in a blink of eye the conscious reality of past, present, and future, multiverses beyond our current phase of comprehension. We are able, as sentient beings, to choose our conscious state of reality, states of reality, which we're able to choose when we want to be unconscious. What do? We go get in the bed and go to sleep. Some of us pass out and faint. That's maybe voluntary or involuntary. Your body just shuts down. Say, okay, sleep. Unconscious. We are able, as a sentient being, to choose our conscious state of reality, which is governed by the unchangeable universal laws, to work out our true identities by the omniscient ability and gifts of our spirit, of our spiritual conscious being. This transmission / download is a corrective lens to help your clairvoyancy, CLEROMANCY. And as I wrote that word, clairomancy, I saw clear romance, the greatest romance that has ever been told. Like the Prince song written a while ago with the drip drip from the antiquated breast of the Aquarian age. If you understand what I was speaking of when I was speaking of Lilith, Adam, and Eve, and you listen to that Prince song and you'll understand the greatest love story ever told. And then you juxtapose that with what I very began with, the energy that's coming, pouring forth with the Alanis Morissette, you ought to know, baby. Woo! This mama energy right now is something else, I'm telling you. It's juicy. It's good. It's good. It's good. What I'm getting ready to read next is I'll give the links. It's from Wikipedia, and it is the definition of clairvoyancy. And let me just give it to you. I'm just going to read it, beloveds, just so you can get a taste of what it is I'm speaking of as your divine, of your six senses, past and beyond your five senses that you were taught in kindergarten. Okay? Mediums can communicate with the spirits. And let me say this. I don't know what I'm doing. Don't ask. I don't even know why I needed to mess with that. Don't ask. Okay. Whatever. There's a lot of spirit flowing right now, beloved. So, like I said, and some people can call it channeling. Some people can call medium. You can call it whatever you want. I call it being full of the Holy Spirit. Okay? I'm full of the Holy Spirit right now. I'm full of myself. What I'm getting ready to read, I want you to understand why it is said in the scriptures that you must be like children. You must be like infants. You must be like babies. Okay? Because babies have this ability. They are still connected until they go to kindergarten, and all of that is, no, you have no invisible friend. No, that's not there. No. What you can see is real. That stuff that you cannot see is not real. Can you touch it? Yeah, see? Valerie, you ain't touched nothing. Ain't nothing there. I did. There it is right there. Don't you see? Valerie, ain't nothing. Say it's there again. Okay, your world. But I know what I see. Don't I? Mediums can communicate with the spirits of those that have passed away by directly or indirectly channeling into the spirit worlds. There are as many different methods of achieving this as there are perceptions of it. These abilities are collectively known as clairsenses. Each one is based on the 5 basic physical senses: sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell, as well as the 6th sense, or intuition, and also those relating to emotions and feelings. These are based on the psychic interpretations and not the parapsychological definitions, though the two may interblend. Clairaudience, smell. The ability to smell odors, scents, or other aromas usually associated with loved ones that have passed away. It is very common in areas where paranormal activity is high, but can also indicate the presence of a ghost, spirit, or other entity. See clairsent, clairscent, clairsent. Clairaudience, hearing. The psychic ability to hear or listen to spirits who communicate through the medium. Claircognizance, sight. The psychic ability of knowing about certain situations, people, or places from the past or in the present or the future without having any way of corroborating the knowledge until it is either confirmed or actually comes to pass. Hold on one second, beloveds. Okay, I'm back, beloveds. Now, let's see, where was I? I had to turn on some more light because it was getting really dark in here. Okay, let me get a sip of this cold brew. That's also probably why I'm kind of extra right now. Okay. We were speaking of Cognizant, which is sight, the psychic ability of knowing about certain situations, people, or places from the past or in the present or the future without having any way of corroborating that knowledge until it is either confirmed or actually comes to pass. And I've been doing that and sharing a lot. It started on Facebook. No, it didn't. It started on Blog Talk Radio. It started on Black Planet. It started on Yahoo Chats. It started on multiply.com. It started when I was a little girl. Okay? This has been an ongoing thing throughout my life. And I am just, like I said, my birthday was May the 1st. I turned 57 years old. And this is such a new chapter for me. And the new chapter is self-love and self-devotion and commitment to that and learning what that means. Am I perfect at it right? No. I'm learning. Nobody teaches you this. You are taught the opposite of this. You are taught not even to value what you look like. Go get that cut off. Go get that fixed. Look like this or look like that. Don't look like yourself. That's weird. Bringing it down, beloveds. Checking the information. Fact checking. I say some things and don't know where it's coming from, but it's boom. And I've had people confirm it. I remember when I first came into tarot reading, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later as I get into this. But I remember doing readings for people and having to read exactly what the book said and write it down and then interpret it from what I got from gleaning the information and putting it down on paper. And then I was able to tell them what I felt, what I thought, and give it to them. You know, this is what it said, and this is what it means, and this is how I came to it. And I've told people of family secrets and children that had different fathers and all kind of stuff that came up. And the people was like, whoa, whoa. Not to toot my own horn, but to let you know what fact checking is. What when you are able to tap into this is your intuition. This is what every child comes to this world with. Everyone that comes through a woman's womb has this ability. These clairs, these 6 senses, these 5 senses. And it's damn time that we get in tune and align with them. And that'll take us outside of the realm of self-hate and war and the need to war, the lust for war and the desire for war, to worship it, to praise it, because you'll be focused on divine love, making love. Clairaudience. gustinance, taste. Clairsavorance. This term is not commonly accepted in mainstream psychism. Clairorification, smell, or clairsentient. This term is not commonly accepted in mainstream psychism. Clairvoyance, sixth sense, a form of divination utilizing the clairsenses individually or in combination. Clairpresence, sixth sense, the psychic ability to sense the presence of spirits or entities. Clairsentience, taste, the psychic ability to taste substances, usually associated with persons when they were alive. It is not an actual physical sensation, but is more like an impression of a particular taste. Clairsent, smell, the ability to smell scents, odors, and aromas, not bound by physical parameters, which are usually attached to persons when they were alive or buildings. It is not a physical sensation, but is more an impression of a particular smell. Question mark. Common scents are the faint scents of perfume, cologne, and flowers, or the odors of tobacco and pipe smoke, the acrid odors of burnt buildings or wood smoke. Clairsentience, emotions, feelings, the psychic ability to converse with spirits through feelings of those that have passed away, sending and receiving words, images, or pictorial messages. Clairvoyance, sight, the psychic ability to detect or see spirits and other entities as they roam the spiritual or physical realms and interact with them, using a combination of other clairsenses. Others are clairvision, clairempathy, clairopathy, clairmetry, or psychometry, or clairprojection. There are also 8 others which essentially utilize some of the clairsentences, but do not officially belong under the clairsenses umbrella. Thus, ESP, precognition, premonition, postcognition, remote viewing, astral projection, auramancy, and certain healing techniques. Clairvoyance is a form of soration, casting of lots in which an outcome is determined by means that normally would be considered random, such as rolling the dice, but that are sometimes believed to reveal the will of God or other universal forces or entities. Beloveds, I think what I did, the clairvoyance and the last part of that, clairvoyance is a form of sortation. I think that came from Wikipedia, and the other came from something else that I cut and pasted. So I'll have to go back and get that address. But I'll put it in as links in the description. Which leads us back to Lilith and her children, of clear seeing, clear knowing, in deep contrast to Adam and Eve's existence alongside hers. Many multiverses coexisting within each other, codependent on reflection and observance of the words of truth, wisdom, and unconditional love as the ultimate self-knowledge, governing states of existence, that it never ending because it was never born, that is never ending because it was never born, only observed through the lens of higher and lower frequencies of conscious awareness that changes with, between, and because of cycles and seasons of perception of space and time. The refilling of the aquarium, the fishbowl, the aquarium age, the cleaning it out and the refilling of new water, the beginning of a new chapter. Expanding beyond the five senses into the six. 1111 is the conscious awareness of the Aquarian age. Aquarian fishbowl, they say, make it plain. That's a repeat of the title of this video. That means I'm halfway done with it. Space takes up space. It knows this without form, thought, or feelings. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was God. I am that I am. Simulated life viewed through the six senses of conscious awareness on the aquarium known as Earth. And I think that should mean in the aquarium known as Earth. And you are to look up the word aquarium in Wikipedia to get the full measure of why Spirit used the term aquarium in this download, in this transmission. Why that word aquarium, I'll make you fisher of men, the Piscean age, the refilling, like I said, the Aquarian age, why all of this is very relative. Why all of this is terms from long ago communications of words and constellations and energies that have been concentrated into specific patterns of recognition that repeat themselves for a purpose. When the conscious awareness is capable of truly becoming fishers of men, the logos / the logis, Loguys, the logis. And I'm just going to go into a little bit more of clairvoyancy because there are a lot of beings. I was one of them that was taught that what I'm doing would be considered divination. What I'm doing is sinful. What I'm doing is dabbling with spirits. What I'm doing is sinful. I don't know if I said that, but I wanted to get to it and share with you why that narrative was introduced and what it took place of. That narrative is associated with a lot of things. And it's kind of been, just like today, the lies are woven into the truth. And you have to really do your due diligence to separate them because it's like tar and you're pulling it apart to really see what's what. And the fabric is woven so tightly that you don't know what's real and sometimes what's not real until you actually, that piece tears away and it shows that it's rotten or it can't hold water because it's a lie. It's an untruth. The value of it was not true value of it. This is where this is coming from. Clairvoyancy is a form of sortition, casting of lots. This is what this was called long ago, casting of lots, in which an outcome is determined by means that normally would be considered random, such as the rolling of dice, but they are sometimes believed to reveal the will of God or other universal forces and entities. So this is dealing with fatalistic kind of logic, philosophy. It's also dealing with the philosophy of, what's the word? Destiny. It's also dealing with karma. It's also dealing with intuition and instinct. It's also dealing with a higher force and a higher source guiding everything and putting your trust in that rather than what you can see, believe, or think on your own. Casting lots for tribal inheritance. Joshua chapter 14. In the Judaic Christian tradition, I'm just reading from the Judaic Christian edition. There are, when you go to this section, this word in Wikipedia, it will break down all of the different cultural, races, religious, philosophical, anthropological, all of the different areas, spiritualities, all of it where this is relevant. I'm just going to give you a certain portion in order to narrow this video down. Casting of lots is mentioned 47 times. There's the number 11, beloveds, in the Bible, and that just popped to me right then. Some examples in the Hebrew Bible of the casting of lots as a means of determining God's will. In the book of Leviticus, chapter 16, verse 8, God commanded Moses, "And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, one lot for the Lord and the other lot for the scapegoat." According to Numbers 26, chapter 26, verse 55, Moses allotted territory to the tribes of Israel according to each tribe's male population and by lot. Hear that again. Moses allocated territory to the tribes of Israel according to the tribe's male population and by lot. In Josh, and I don't mean his nephew Lot. I don't mean Abraham's nephew Lot. I mean Lot, casting lots. Okay? Lottery lots. In Joshua chapter 7, verse 14, a guilty party, Achan, is found by Lot. In the book of Joshua 18, verse 6, Joshua says, "Ye shall therefore describe the land into 7 parts. Describe the land into 7 parts, and bring the description hither to me, that I may cast lots for you here before the Lord our God." The Hebrews took this action in order to know God's will as to the dividing of land between the 7 tribes of Israel, who had not yet received their inheritance. Joshua chapter 18, verse 2. In the first book of Samuel, chapter 14, verse 32, lots are used to determine that it was Jonathan, Saul's son, who broke the oath that Saul made. "Cursed be the man that eateth any food until evening, that I may be avenged on my enemies." 1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 24. In the book of Jonah, chapter 1, verse 7, the desperate sailors cast lots to see whose God was responsible for creating the storm. Then the sailors said to each other, "Come, let us cast lots to find out who is responsible for this calamity." They cast lots, and the lot fell on Jonah. Other places in the Bible relevant to divination include Book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 33. "The lot is cast into the lap, but it's every decision is from Yahweh. And 18, chapter 18, I'm sorry, and Proverbs 18, verse 18, the lot settles disputes and keeps strong ones apart. Hear that. Hear that. So by divination, lots, lotteries, you're discerning all of this information from out of, what is it called? Out of my other videos, I said, out of a black hat, the white glove reaches in, nothing up the sleeve. This is akin to that. That set the stage for this video. It's all tied together. The lot settles disputes and keeps strong ones apart. Spirit says, think upon that. Powers, when it comes to powers and principalities, how the strong ones are kept apart by the casting of lots. That has a lot to do with the boundaries upon the earth grid that are set up now. Wars that have taken place throughout our conscious awareness in our current history upon this fifth world right now. Book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 26, the King James Version. Neither shall you practice enchantment nor observe times. The original word for enchantment is found in Strong's Concordance. It's pronounced nakash. The translation given by Strong is to practice divination, divine, observe signs, learn by experience, diligently observe, practice, fortune telling, take as an omen, and 1, to practice divination, 2, observe the signs or omens. Times in the original Hebrew is pronounced anan. Its translation in Strong's Concordance is to make appear, produce, bring clouds, to practice soothsaying and to conjure, and 1, to observe times, practice soothsaying or spiritism or magic or augury or witchcraft. 2, soothsayer, enchanter, sorceress, divine and fortune teller, barbarian. In the Hebrew Interlinear Bible, the verse reads, not you shall augur, and not you shall consult cloud. And I just want to stop here for a moment, beloveds, and let you understand where some of this is coming from. A lot of this has to do with the wisdom and the knowledge that the Nephilim imparted to women. Okay? A lot of it has to do with the instincts and intuition of wisdom, which is discernment beyond logic. Now, I want you to understand those that wrote this in this King James translation and put all of this in here. They had a narrative that they wanted you to follow. And that narrative was the Mother Church. You needed the Mother Church to mediate for you between God. The Mother Church was God's mate, consort on this earth. Christ came through the church. Okay? That's what the King James Version and a lot of the renditions of the canonical scriptures that are allowed in the Bible. That's the narrative that follows. Okay? But if you really read that Bible and you really understand, especially in the New Testament, when Jesus is speaking of discernment, it ain't got nothing to do with lots. Ain't got nothing to do with chance. Discernment is what Jesus brought. What did he bring? He brought Christ conscious awareness, the ability to expand your Christ conscious awareness. What did that do? That nullified that mother church thing that they overemphasize and put back into place. Understand there were many different sects within Christianity, just as there are many different sects within Christianity in this day. You have the Baptists, you have the Methodist, you have Episcopalian, you have Catholic, you have Church of Christ and God, you have this, that, Jehovah's Witnesses, you have, how many do you have? Understand that during Jesus' time, those same factions existed. The Sadducees and the Pharisees, the Levites, the Ebionites, the Nazarites, just to name a few, beloved. So you really have to have a real understanding beyond the limited education that most want to give you, feed you. Here, eat this, swallow it. Don't worry about where it comes from. Swallow it, swallow it. Discernment. That means I don't have faith in that. Let me go see what this really means. What's in this stuff? What's the ingredients in this? What's it gonna do to me? What's it gonna make me believe? What's the side effects? What is this? That's discernment. You ain't sleeping on nothing. You consciously aware. And you're expanding your conscious awareness as you go, which means you're growing. You're maturing. You don't stay in one stagnant place. Well, this is this, and it's been like that for 50 million years, and that's what it is. That's what the Holy Mother Church said, and that's what it is, and that's how it's going to be. And we're going to kill you and burn you at the stake if you say otherwise. We're going to decapitate you, take your lands, burn your house, and kill all your children in genocide if you say something else. Say something different if you want to. We are the colonizers. You've got to speak our language. You've got to worship our God. You've got to dress like us. You've got to look like us. And anything that goes different is going to be destroyed. So you better get that in your head and bow down and come on. And that's where we are today. We are the generations of that. That is our truth. And when you examine the truth, you are able to discern the truth from the lie. The lie can't stand no more. Why? Because it don't make what? 5, 6 senses. It don't add up. Not in the universal math, baby. Not logic ain't got shit on wisdom. Okay? Can't keep up. It's artificial intelligence. Nothing like OI. Nothing like the original. Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Okay? That's mama. That's what I'm speaking of now. Okay. Nor shall you augur, and nor shall you consult clouds. In the Bible, in the early Bibles, the Shekinah followed the early Israelites in the clouds during the tabernacle period. So the Holy Spirit was in the clouds. So that's why this is saying don't. I know once upon a time it's maybe in your DNA and in your memory to do this with clouds, but they just clouds. Let that go. What do children do? Children see shapes in clouds. Children see things in the clouds. Children see the clouds following them. Clouds speak to children. Still speaks to you as an adult. When you lay down and you look up at the blue sky and you see clouds, you automatically identify with them. You see whether they're billowy and white or they're gray and black and stormy, and you know the difference. There's a magnetic feel to it that speaks, communicates with you. Deuteronomy 18:10, let no one be found among you who, kasim, performs onan, nahash, or kashaf. Kasim, that sounds like magic words. What is it? Kasim. What am I thinking of? Shazam. Okay. Literally means distributions, and may possibly refer to clairomancy. Kashaf seems to mean mutter, although the Septuaginters, those that wrote the Septuagint, the Greek Septuagint Bibles, the Greek translations, this is their renderings and teachings of the phrases and the words. In the beginning was the word. This is their translation of the words and their instructions on what to do with these words and when it comes to these words. The same phrase of pharmakia, pharmacy, poison. So it may refer to magic potions. Understand the history of all of this. Understand how it's all woven together. Understand why it all matters. Understand why it's all coming up in this download, in this transmission on Mother's Day. Pharmakia, the alchemy of the earth. Earth medicine, the polarity of the medicine is the poison. Life and death and rebirth. In the book of Esther, Haman cast lots to decide the date on which to exterminate the Jews of Shushan. The Jewish festival of Purim commemorates the subsequent chain of events. In 1 Chronicles chapter 26, verse 13, guard duties are assigned by lot. To Christian doctrine, perhaps the most significant ancient Hebrew mention of lots occurred in the book of Psalms. Yes. Chapter 22, verse 18. And it quotes, they divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. This came to be regarded as a prophecy connecting that psalm and the one that follows to the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. Since all four Gospels, for example, John chapter 19, verse 24, tell of the Roman soldiers at Jesus' crucifixion casting lots to see who would take possession of his clothing. That final act of profanation became the central theme of The Robe, a film, 1953 film starring Richard Burton. And I just posted Elizabeth Taylor on my Valerie Ames Middlebrook Facebook page yesterday, last night, early in the morning because I could not sleep. She came up in what was being done in Hollywood through the elite to children, especially little girls, growing too far up in their bodies. Elizabeth Taylor slept with Ronald Reagan when I think she was 15. It's on my page. It's on YouTube. It's on Google it. These are the same Republicans. This is the same energy. This is the same spiritual energy that feasts and feeds and consumes the innocence of children, corrupts it, okay, for its own purposes, for its own narrative, for its own benefit and wealth. It builds its house upon the skeletal bones of the whitewashed innocent ones. We taking that away. The earth is opening up and them dry bones about to dance, baby. They about to speak. They about to teach and they about to tell. They telling it all. And they showing it. And it ain't a damn thing you're going to be able to do about it. Because it's time. Sorry. This is what Spirit wanted me to point out about this particular download with the lots. And I want you to hear this, beloveds. I put everything away right now. Breathe, drink some water, sit your spine up, get ready to receive this, because this is noteworthy. This is a divine revelation on Mother's Day specifically for this moment. It's coming up right now. It's arising right now. That's why it's not written in here, because it's arising, being born right now in front of you. Okay? Psalms, chapter 22, verse 18. And you need to do something with those numbers because they're very prophetic. They're gematria, even the word Psalms, Psalms, all of that will guide you to prophecy that will confirm what I'm speaking on right now. Okay? They divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. This came to be regarded as a prophecy connecting that psalm and the one that follows to the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus, since all four Gospels tell of the Roman soldiers at Jesus' crucifixion casting lots to see who would take possession of his clothing. That has a much deeper meaning to it. I want you to understand what was Jesus' clothing. Metaphysically, metaphorically, not literally. It was his conscious awareness. It was his teachings. That's what he wore as his flesh, on his flesh, to cover his flesh, to cover his identity was his words, was his clothes, was his words, was what he used. These things is what this scripture speaks upon. It does not speak upon his literal clothes that he had on, that he had been drugged through, imprisoned with, bloodied over, that was stinking and poopy and everything else that he had been dragged through the streets in, put on the cross that they took off of his physical body. Think about it. What Roman do you know gonna want that? or go see value in it. Wasn't that, beloveds? It was on his teachings. What section or sect or cult or church or disciple or land or power and principality was going to get this knowledge? You can have this portion. You can have this portion. You can have a sleeve. You can have a collar. You can have a hem. But none of y'all gonna have the whole robe. Watch the movie. The final act of profanity. The final act of profane, of doing something profane against spirit. Against what spirit? The divine feminine spirit. The nakedness. Casting the lots of the clothes from her child, stripping her child that she had just gave birth to, that was speaking of her in her tongue, from her flesh, from her ways. This patriarch stripped that, tore it apart, and decided among the conquerors and their own narrative of their own religions, their own regions, rewrote what they needed to rewrite, destroyed all prior knowledge that could be easily recognized and rendered. That's why the Nag Hammadi was buried in the caves. That's why DNA codes, generations are being watched, because certain one born through those generations, that bloodline, carries certain wisdom, certain ways, are able to get into those clair senses. They them clair babies. Whether you want to call them indigos or whatever the hell you want to call them. Sorry. Not sorry. I got to stop apologizing. It is what it is, beloveds. I express as I express, and that's just it. I'm no longer apologetic. I'm learning to no longer be apologetic about how I appear when I am communicating spirit into this realm. I'm no longer ashamed. I'm no longer restricted. I'm no longer afraid. My mama taught me to be afraid. My mama had all of this. She was driven crazy. She was beat, raped, put into psychiatric places, had all kind of shock treatment and all kind of shit happened to her. And she beat me and taught me, do not engage. Put me in the Jehovah's Witnesses. Do not engage. In other words, do not be who you are. Do not discern your true purpose and your true nature. Fit in and shut up. Because that's what? That's my role as a woman. is it now? A notable example in the Old Testament occurs in the Acts of the Apostles. Chapter 1, Acts, the book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 23 through 26, where the 11, how many times did 11 come? 11 remaining apostles cast lots to determine whether to select Matthias or Barsabbas, surnamed Justus, to replace Judas. Remember, there were 12 disciples. Judas betrayed Jesus, so they needed another disciple to keep the 12 intact, to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. And so they selected Matthias. How did they do that? They cast lots. They used divination. The same thing that you were just told not to do. Because it's wicked. Because it's demonic. Because it's of the feminine intuition, of receptivity, of wisdom beyond logic or ways of explaining it. It's a mystery. It's of the womb. It's of the blood. It's not a mystery. It's a mastery of existence. It's the ability to incarnate spirit and hold it, and know it, and see it and observe it, and speak to it and communicate to it and through it and for it and by it, baby. And it is the mother tongue, and she will not be silenced. I need a drink. Aho, mama. Aho. Aho, mama. And I'm almost done, beloveds. The Eastern Orthodox Church still occasionally uses this method of selection. In 1917, Metropolitan Tikhon became Patriarch of Moscow by drawing of lots. The Coptic Orthodox Church uses drawing lots to choose the Coptic Pope, most recently done in November 2012. To choose Pope Tawadros II, German pistis Christians in the 18th century often followed the New Testament precedent of drawing lots to determine the will of God. That's what these men did in the name of the Holy Mother Church as her authority and representatives upon this living earth. And you see where we are with their logic, with their wisdom, and with their discernment. Self-fulfilling prophecies of self-hate. on a loop, waiting, awaiting the birth of the Aquarian age, the resurgence of the Christ consciousness, the ability to expand spiritual conscious awareness, to be able to hold it, to be a sacred space, a womb for it, a temple, a dwelling place, for it to dwell, for it to be passed on, to become a living university, a living universe, a living womb. You ought to know. The most extensive use of drawing lots in the Pistis tradition may have come from Count van Zindorf and the Moravian Brethren of Herrenhut, who drew lots for many purposes, including selection of church sites, approval of missionaries, the election of bishops, and many others. This practice was greatly curtailed after the General Synod of the Worldwide Moravian Unity in 1818. Citation needed. And finally, discontinued in the 1880s. Many Amish customarily select ordinary preachers by lot. Note that the Greek word for lot, kleros, serves as the etymological root for English words like cleric and clergy, as well as clairomancy, the greatest romance that's ever been. This can be found on Wikipedia, beloveds, under the word clairomancy, Cleromancy. Clair, to see clearly and deduce spiritual matters beyond the five senses. And that is going to do it, beloveds. That is the extent of this download. And like I said, it has been very deep for me, beloveds. It's been very informative for me to use it and to feel it in this manner, because it's very vital. It's very vital to this brand new age. This brand new age is an infant. It is an infant essence. It is brand new. It is that baby that was born in Revelation from the woman with the dragon sitting there waiting on it, because it's waging war against the woman and it's waiting on her to give birth to this Aquarian age, because it wants to swallow her and that baby up. How dare you, bitch? You ought to know, baby. I'm on the earth. The earth has got me. The earth, spirit, and mind, one. Mother Earth. Understand the essence of which you feed, of which you eat, and of which you return to, and your ancestors speak to you from. Understand with your six senses, your clairs, sight beyond sight is what Mother Wick has been calling it for the longest time. Okay, beloveds, that is going to do it. I love you all so much. Whatever you are going through, it has an ending and it shall pass. Rest your spirit and your conscious awareness in that which is higher and knows that this world is passing, that this misery is passing, that this suffering is passing, that this patriarchal bullshit is passing, as it has many times before. Root yourself, ground yourself. In the stillness, in that which cannot be disturbed, which no one can touch, which no one can smell, which no one can taste. That is the truth of you. Know thyself. The truth does not need your defense. She requires your support for you to uphold her. For you to be committed to upholding and supporting her. And she will give birth and do the rest. Blood, sweat, and tears. She knows when to be active, and she knows when to rest. And you, as her children, as her offspring, as the fruit of her loins, need to be in tune with loving yourself enough to instinctively and intuitively communicate with yourself, the essence and the truth of yourself. And you make it as hard or as soft as you need to, because it's malleable like water, baby. The Aquarian age. She said you ought to know. You ought to know, you ought to know, baby. You ought to know. Mother's Day 2020, May 8th. You ought to know. And, beloveds, if you want more how can I say this? I have never been one to, and I'm not finna do it now. It is what it is. When I feel moved to share, I share. And I do so freely. And take what you from it what you will. Feed many. Feed many. Namaste.